Hi, this is Rich, and welcome to Wings, Wheels, and Wires. So while I was at Electrify Expo San Francisco, I got the opportunity to test drive the Lucid Gravity. Keep an eye out for that video coming out really soon. Also, I got the opportunity to interview Lucid's Gravity Marketing Manager and ask a few questions that I had, and I even asked some questions that some viewers posted or questions based on viewers' comments from previous videos. So let's check that out right now. Hi, I'm here with Peter Ding, Gravity Product Marketing Manager. How are you doing today?
Good. How about you?
All right. So I'm going to start, before I get into the other questions, I'm going to start with a pretty easy one. What is your favorite feature of the Gravity?
It's hard to. There's so many. It's hard to tell. For me, I'm a bit of an audiophile. I do really enjoy the Surreal Sound Pro that's in Gravity, the 22 speaker Dolby Atmos enabled content. So really brings audio quality to life. So somebody who really enjoys audio, it makes the trip very enjoyable.
Great. Well, I do enjoy a good sound system in a car, so I can definitely appreciate that. As a side note, this is going to be a weird thing, but my favorite part about the Gravity, which I'm going to relate to my least favorite part of the Air, is your seats are all the same color. One of the things on the Air is the front seats, no matter what color you get, are black. And I love the fact that these are actually the same color as the rest of the seating surface. I know it's a weird thing to be particular about, but I really appreciate it. Okay, so going to the next kind of question. For me, I kind of an interesting design aesthetic of the vehicle because it's less of an SUV look and kind of more of minivan meets station wagon. I know some reviewers have said it has station wagon vibe. No, sorry, has minivan vibes. For me, it's a little more like, honestly, a Dodge Magnum, but actually Magnum size. What inspired this really interesting design choice?
If you look at the history of SUVs, there's a lot of compromises from the very first utility vehicle from post-war to the high-performance sport utility vehicles today. Right? There's some sort of compromise, either from on-road capability, off-road capability, the size, or the comfort. So Lucid took an opportunity to redefine the sport utility sector. So here is the Gravity, where we made no compromises in terms of its capability. Right? So we really redefined the breadth of capability on Gravity.
For sure. All right, great. Thank you for that. Yeah, I know that one of the things that really is kind of interesting is it's a good sized vehicle, but the height of it and I think it actually might be sitting higher than the one that I had driven before. I know it has a different handling characteristics, but I know as I had seen it in Long Beach, the height of it was actually only this much higher than my i3, which is a pretty fairly small car. So it sits pretty low for being such a large vehicle, which I know helps, probably aids that station wagon slant minivan look, but it really helps the handling of the vehicle. And honestly, just the appearance, I think, looks better than a lot of SUVs on the market.
Yeah, so the one that you saw at Long Beach was probably on lowest setting. So on all Gravity, it comes with standard air suspension, where it's also height adjustable. So on the low setting, it's about 5 inches ground clearance. This one today is on standard, so it has 7-inch ground clearance. But if you need to go places that's a little bit less traveled off the beaten path, you can further raise the air suspension to 9.3 inches.
Okay. For sure, yeah, which is a question we're definitely going to come back to. All right, so the next question I have is tiers. Right now, the one that's available is the Grand Touring?
Yes.
Correct? So what can you tell me? I know you might be limited in this, but what can you tell me about what future tiers will come out and when we can expect them, like a Touring or something like that?
Yeah, so when we announced Gravity, we announced the starting price of $79,900, and that's the Touring pricing. Right. Touring will be available for order and delivery before the end of the year.
Okay, great. And any thoughts of making a Pure version?
Well, we're always looking at opportunities for the market. Pure right now has not been fully defined. We're always looking for the opportunity in terms of market demands.
Okay, because I can tell you, and I would think this was a weird thing for me to be interested in on the car, but I've actually had a lot of viewers speak to the same topic. Is one of the big differences between the Pure and the other tiers is the aluminum roof versus glass. And I'm not a fan of glass roofs. So if I were buying, for example, Lucid Air, I would get the Pure mainly, well, great price, but compared to the other tiers, but also for the aluminum roof. So any thoughts of having aluminum roof on these?
Well, actually, funny, thank you for mentioning that. On Lucid Air today, all trim levels, regardless if it's pure touring or grand touring, you can get the aluminum roof standard, and then great. Option for the canopy roof.
Okay.
So now going back to the Gravity. So right now, all Gravity has standard canopy roof with the front and rear panoramic roof. We're listening to the market demand. So it's going to take some time, depending on how the market feedback is, depending on if the consumer has a high demand for an aluminum roof. That's something we can look at.
Okay. Definitely, of course, what I've seen is only a microcosm of the world, right? All 5 people that want an aluminum roof might be the only 5 people that have been on my channel. So I can't say that I can speak for the whole market, but I do know when I spoke on the Lucid Air about the Pure being my favorite because the aluminum roof, there was a few people that were like, yeah, I hate glass roofs. So hopefully that is something that comes to pass if the market, of course, can support it. Okay. And then I think you covered when we can expect the touring. How about pricing for the touring? Oh, never mind. It's a $79.9.
Yes.
Okay. And then, even though this isn't the one I personally would be interested in, but is there thought of a sapphire-ish one?
No, similar to the study we have on Pure. Right now, our focus is trying to get more Gravity delivered, as well as also the next set of products that Lucid has. When the market demands is there, and we always do listen to our customers, nothing is being ruled out.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, not that I think that the Sapphire will be your highest selling one anyway, just because I'm guessing it'll be pretty expensive, but I'm curious if it was coming out. Okay, now one other tier or version I can say that y'all just recently announced is the X, which goes back to when you said this thing could kind of, if it needed to get off the road a little bit, it can. Well, the Gravity X sounds like that's kind of where it means to be at home. It's off-road, it has things like skid plates and stuff like that. What I hadn't seen, and maybe I just missed it, was when it'll be available and how much that will cost.
Okay, so the Gravity Cross is purely a design concept.
Okay.
We are using that as design concept to listen to market feedback.
Okay.
So again, we're always interested understanding what the market wants. So of course we do a lot of these design exercises to see, to engage our potential buyers and other customers.
Okay, that would make perfect sense. Nothing worse than making a product nobody wants, right? So it makes sense to listen to that because it is kind of a neat concept. You know, like I said, I don't, when I look at this, I don't think off-road vehicle by the way it looks, but even this one, not even the cross version you're talking about, even this version could do it. I mean, you raise the air suspension up and you got large tires, large wheels, you could do it. It's just for some reason in my mind there's like this barrier that goes, but it looks so, you know, city-like, you know.
And the beauty of having electric motors is it can respond to traction needs and adjust hundreds of times per second.
Right.
So there's not an issue when it comes to traction.
Yeah. Like
unless you're really in somewhere that probably pushing the limit of many other vehicles as well.
Probably somewhere you shouldn't be bringing a 7-seat SUV, right? If you are enjoying this video, please hit that like button down below. While you're down there, hitting the subscribe button would greatly support the channel. And, of course, don't forget to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And stand by to the end of the video to hear my new subscriber shoutouts. So, I know this was one of my viewers' questions that I promised to mention here. What makes Lucid so efficient? I know part of it is aerodynamics. What else?
Aerodynamics is certainly a key part of efficiency, but in terms of how we design our electrical architecture, further helps that efficiency. We have an incredibly efficient powertrain, right? That helps us further push the limits of what's capable for an electric vehicle. And part of the Lucid DNA is that performance and efficiency. And we are on the Grand Touring, it's capable of EP rated 450 miles.
Right.
And unlike some of the other OEMs, they're packing like 205 kilowatt hour of battery.
Yeah, we won't mention Cadillac.
And that has further other impacts in terms of efficiency. More weight, quicker tire wear, quicker brake wear. On top of that, it takes you longer to charge, and it costs you more to charge. In the vehicle, from a dynamic handling standpoint, isn't as nimble.
Yeah, that's what I was. The thing that was the whole time you were talking would be the acceleration and stopping distance would be affected by that extra weight too.
Yes, you know, the faster you go, it heats up the brake rotors and pads, and that's going to end up having that extra weight is going to drag on the stopping distance and could lead to a potential
accident. Yeah,
it can make a huge difference between getting into an accident or not,
or how severe the accident ends up.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Something I haven't heard mentioned much, because I know your motor's more efficient. Batteries. Yes. Would you say that the batteries are something more efficient, or are they kind of standard, if you will?
Well, no. So our suppliers builds our battery exactly to Lucid's spec requirements. So what we changed, we made improvements to from the air is the thermal efficiency. Right. So when you go charge the Gravity at a 400 kilowatt capable charging station, not only does it retain the 400 kilowatt charge curve, it also keeps it longer. So you get more miles per minute charged than other similar sized vehicle. Right. Gravity can charge up to 200 miles in less than 11 minutes.
That's pretty good. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. So that longer charge curve. So past 80%, where do you start to see a big drop then on the charge curve?
Yeah, so it really depends on the condition, right? Your state of charge, and as well as the environment, and also the charging station. So there's many variables to tell you exactly where the charge is going to start dropping.
Vary. Okay.
But we do understand that your time, our customers' time, is important. So we focus a lot of our design, electronic architecture, and powertrain to be that efficient. So not only does it charge quick, you're spending less time at the charging station and more time on the road.
Which honestly I think is pretty important. I done a video once where I talked about how quickly you charge is just as important, if not more important, than actually even your range. You know, if you had hypothetically, I have an i3, only has 115 miles of range, which is way too little. Absolutely. But if you could charge that thing in 2 minutes, who would care, right? You roll into a charger, whoop, whoop, okay, done. And on the road, it wouldn't matter that much, right? So definitely charging speed is really a huge thing. And again, you said they have 900 volt architecture, which definitely helps that charging speed. Yeah. But no, when you say the architecture helps the efficiency, that would be that 900 volt architecture is what helps the efficiency as well?
Yeah, certainly. And also when we talk about efficiency, we don't like to talk about 10% to 80% state of charge, right? The time it takes, right? Because the smaller battery pack will typically charge from a lower state to a higher percentage state quicker,
right? Because there's less to charge.
Yes. So that's a lot of the OEMs are using the percentages as a means to measure, which is very misleading. For us, telling you exactly how many miles you can charge within certain minutes is a better indication of that efficiency.
Right. From like the nerdy techie kind of thing, I'd rather hear it the other way, but it makes more sense from a user perspective. How long am I going to be sitting at the charger? It's really the more important number.
Yes.
Okay. One other thing I know doesn't have it. A couple of my viewers had actually commented this was a gripe they had, and that was the lack of a not my gripe, by the way, the lack of a rear view, like the rear view mirror being camera based instead of mirror based. Do y'all have any thoughts on doing anything like that?
I would say we're aware of that customer feedback.
Right.
So technically, the Gravity or Air can do something similar. Granted, we have to make a decision, and that's the beauty of the OTA software-defined vehicle. We could OTA update certain features to make the car better. So we are looking at something that potentially bridges that gap from the customer feedback.
Okay. And I can say for me personally, I don't really see a big difference because there's nothing really obstructing your rear view inside the cabinet. It's one thing if it was like, an Aptera who plans to have, this canopy in the back, you can't see through, you have to have a camera. You can't see through the window, you have to have a camera. But with this, you have a really good sight line for me. So for me, it's not something I would particularly be concerned with, but I do know that some viewers have actually commented on that, so I thought I'd bring it up. I would definitely say if we ever did it, it would be probably better as an option than standard, because I wouldn't want to pay extra to have that when the mirror worked just fine for me. Some people, if they want to pay for it, go for it. All right, well, thank you for your time. This has been really great. So far, I've enjoyed driving the vehicle. We're going to drive it a little more and have a little more fun with that. So this has been really great. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, so thanks for watching the interview. You'll notice that there's probably some questions you were expecting me to ask that I didn't. For example, production numbers, release dates. And the reality of it is that Lucid just isn't sharing that information, not publicly, not in interviews, period. Also, you might have wanted me to ask questions about the new mid-size model coming out in the future, but they aren't really giving that information out either. They're focusing on the Gravity and if there was somebody that was going to be able to give that information. Unfortunately, the Gravity marketing manager isn't the person for that. So I'll continue to follow up and hopefully get you some more information on that in future videos. So thanks for watching, and stick around for the subscriber shout out. And right here's a video I think you really might like. And now it's time for the subscriber shoutouts. If you'd like your own shoutout, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and either make sure your name is visible or put in the comments down below that you subscribed. Iman, Nelson BMW i3 Rex King, Pete Slater. Thanks for subscribing.